Hello, Diaz Orozco. Your spiritual destiny is in your hands. Satan's objective is to deceive you and lead you into rebellion against God and His Word, so that you will not be able to take full possession of your spiritual inheritance and into the powerful spiritual dimension He has planned for you. Israel listened to the voice of unbelief and disobeyed God. The people heard the voice of God, the voice of faith, and the voice of unbelief. All that was necessary was for them to hear the voice of God and in simple faith obey. They heard the voice of faith. Caleb had said, "We are well able to conquer it." Here, he and Joshua later pleaded with the people not to rebel against God. The land through which we passed as scouts is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord delight in us, then He will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land flowing with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, neither fear the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense and the shadow of protection is removed from over them, but the Lord is with us. Fear them not. It's in Numbers 14:7-9. Their unbelief was the root cause of their disobedience. If they rejected the voice of unbelief and refused to listen to the negative report, they would have obeyed God. Unbelief will lead you into disobedience and rebellion against God. Unbelief and disobedience will prevent you from entering into God's rest. In Hebrews 3:12-15-19, see to it, brothers, that none of you has a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living God. Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts as you did in the rebellion. Who were they who heard and rebelled? Were they not all those Moses led out of Egypt? And with whom was He angry for 40 years? Was it not with those who sinned, whose bodies fell in the desert? And to whom did God swear that they would never enter His rest, if not to those who disobeyed? So we see that they were not able to enter because of their unbelief. We must set our heart and mind to obey God regardless of the cost. To enter the powerful spiritual dimension, we must shut out every voice of unbelief that would tempt or deceive us into disobeying God. We must set our heart and mind to obey God regardless of the cost. Murmuring will keep us away from doing God's will, will keep us in defeat. Murmuring is an outward expression of unbelief. Moses told the Israelites, "The Lord has heard your grumblings, which you murmur against Him. What are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against the Lord." Exodus 16:8. He said, "And do not grumble as some of them did, and were killed by the destroying angel. These things happened to them as examples and were written down as warnings for us, on whom the fulfillment of the ages has come." 1 Corinthians 10:10-11. Murmuring will keep us from entering into God's rest. Just as murmuring kept the Israelites out of the promised land, murmuring will keep us from entering into the powerful spiritual dimension known as God's rest, where there is freedom from worry, stress, God's blessing, and provision, power, and victory. Instead of murmuring, begin to praise and thank God for His faithfulness towards you. Release your faith and trust God to meet your need. Because of their unbelief, the Israelites rebelled and disobeyed God. They refused to hear the voice of God. They rejected His word. They refused to act in faith on what He has promised. They refused to obey. It is time for us to take a full possession of our inheritance. We must go out and possess it. New spiritual territory. All that God requires of us is for us to hear His voice and obey. In Deuteronomy 4:9-10 says, only take heed and guard your life diligently, lest you forget the things your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your mind and heart all the days of your life. Teach them to your children and your children's children, especially how on the day that you stood before the Lord your God in Horeb, the Lord said to me, gather the people together to me, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn reverently to fear me all the days of their lives upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. Deuteronomy 4:9-10. He told them, and now Israel, what does the Lord your God require from you? But to fear the Lord your God, to walk in His ways, and to love Him, and to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, and to keep the Lord's commandments and His statutes, which I command you today for your good. You shall fear the Lord your God, you shall serve Him and cling to Him, and you shall swear by His name. Deuteronomy 10:12-13 and 20. God spoke through Jeremiah. Have you forgotten the wickedness of your fathers, the wickedness of the kings of Judah, and the wickedness of their wives, your own wickedness, and the wickedness of your wives, which they committed in the land of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? But they have not become contrite, even to this day, nor have they feared, nor walked in my law or my statutes, which I set before you and before your fathers. Jeremiah 44:9-10. Without the fear of God in their hearts, they could not obey God. Under the new covenant, God has placed His fear in our hearts. God told Moses, oh, that they had such a mind and heart in them always reverently to fear me and keep my commandments, that it might go well with them and with their children forever. Deuteronomy 5:29. Without the fear, they were not able to obey God. Under the new covenant, God has made it with us. He has placed His fear in our hearts. He has promised us, they will be my people and I will be their God. I will give them singleness of heart and action, so that they will always fear me for their own good and the good of their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, and I will never stop doing good to them, and I will inspire them to fear me, so that they will never turn away from me. Jeremiah 32:38 and 40. We are commanded to fear God rather to fear man. Jesus commissioned and sent the 12 disciples out. He commanded them, do not fear those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the soul, but rather fear Him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Matthew 10:28. 1 Peter 1:13-17. Wherefore, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. As obedient children, not fashion yourself according to the former lusts in your ignorance, but as He which had called you is holy, so be you holy in all manner of conversation. Because it is written, be you holy, for I am holy. And if you call on the Father, who without respect of persons judges according to every man's work, pass the time of your sojourning here in fear. 1 Peter 1:13-17. The Apostle Paul told the Romans that God will render to every man according to his deeds. He said, to those who by perseverance in doing good seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. But to those who are selfishly ambitious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, wrath, and indignation. Romans 2:7-8. Satan's strategy is to steal the fear of God out of your heart. Satan's will is to tempt us to reject God's voice and follow after our own self-will. Just remember, you can choose this day whom will you serve. For me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Until next time.